We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now our World Broadcasting Tag Team Champions of the World and a Cruiserweight Champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
And this is episode 129 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. Of course, I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and of course, our producer, Rob Flores. We are currently doing this via Zoom because of social distancing and all that. So, of course, we hope everyone is staying at home, or if you're going out, you're being safe about it. And you can follow us on social media at RealBTR Radio on Twitter. You can follow me individually at EthanOnly95. You can follow James at
JHW Reporter.
And you can follow NWO Rob, who has left the studio this week, on Twitter at
Rob Flores Media.
There you go. He's turned heel on us, James.
He really did. Like, he really did. I wasn't.
I mean,
I'm speechless. This is probably the biggest heel turn since Hulk Hogan. Well, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. But anyways, of course, I am right here inside the Thunderdome. Behind me is the Raw stage here. Of course, James is in an undisclosed location. I do see a Pokemon, so I know he went to McDonald's.
Yeah, we stopped our Pokemon training earlier today. Went to McDonald's and got my Pokemon cards. There you go. Let me see. The light's there it is. I don't know what this one means. I don't know if that means I have the first of however many in the set. I don't know. We'll find out. But yeah, Pokemon's in again.
There you go. All right, let's get talking about the big news story to come out of this week. Perhaps the biggest news story.
Holy moly, what are you talking about?
The biggest, the holiest news story to come out of this week. And I'm not talking about the Messiah, Seth Rollins. We'll talk about him later, because,
Okay.
He did make his comeback this past Friday on SmackDown, but we'll talk about that later on. Let's talk about what happened last Monday on Raw. That's right, we're talking about Nia Jax. James, did you see this?
I heard she dug herself a hole.
Yeah, it was an interesting scenario, to say the least. I was not able to finish this past episode of Raw as of this recording, but I did see the online the video that just trended worldwide.
Yep.
Nia Jax falling or doing a leg drop during a match against Lana on the apron where she missed, and well, she landed on her tailbone, to say the least. And yeah, she basically screamed.
Yeah, she landed.
Go ahead.
So she landed on her tailbone, started screaming "my hole," which is interesting. I mean, she's done the move several times. I can't say maybe she has missed that many times. So, that's the outcome you're gonna get. But it did trend across Twitter, especially. I mean, that was obviously. I don't know if it was the highlight of the night, but it was the trending moment of the night. And apparently they did, when they do the Raw replay, I think, whenever they play that back on TV, and I'm sure maybe on the network at some point, apparently that portion has been cut out of the replay. Again, though, I think they did have it on Twitter. I believe I'm sure the official account did. But I know, WWE on Fox did, and whoever. Well, maybe not because it's not on Fox. One of the accounts had it. One of the official WWE accounts had it. I think maybe the WWE Universe account. Someone had it, so they didn't shy away from it, and neither did Nia Jax, who tweeted. I'll have to go back and look at the tweet, but she did play it. She wasn't she took it in stride, we'll say it that way. So
Yeah, so I did see it on Facebook actually that WWE did
Mhm.
share it. They did bleep out the words "my hole," however, so they took out the best part. I know, but they left whatever the rest of the sequence was. Um, Go ahead.
So they left it on the replay
I don't know about the replay, but it was on social media, on
on
Facebook.
social media, though. Right. Okay. Okay. Because
Yeah.
I think on the replay they just took it out.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, they just bleeped it on social media, but yeah, that scene was
Mhm.
included. However, and yeah, she became famous. A number of WWE wrestlers were giving her a bit of a hard time using a bunch of holy puns and all that stuff. Mick Foley did say this would be the perfect opportunity at an Austin 316 moment.
I saw that. I did see that, and I don't know.
This could be, I mean, Lana won the match. It was a tables match. She put Nia through the table. However, everyone's talking about Nia Jax at the end. Nobody's talking about the victory there. And are we gonna get some whole merch? I don't any my whole merch on WWE Shop anytime soon.
Probably not on the WWE shop. I'm sure if you go to maybe Pro Wrestling Tees at some point. Just looking at Nia Jax's timeline a little bit of back and forth with Naomi is from earlier today. Naomi has a photo of her with purple, pink hair. Kind of reminds me of Bret Hart. But I think pink hair here, and then she has pink eyebrows. Nia Jax goes on a comment saying, "Your brows are ugly. I hate them." Naomi comes back by saying, "Instead of worrying about my brows, you need to be worried about the hole." She uses an emoji for that of yours. Chill. How is it healing, by the way? What did she say? Naya responds with, "You're lucky I'm a holy woman. I'm going to let this one slide."
There you go.
So just some back and forth action, you know. But again, she's kind of taking it in stride and just, taking it for what it is, and trying to look at. I guess at this point she's made several references to it, but I think the point too was this was supposed to be the match in which Alana gets her comeuppance, I guess is the word we'll use, or finally get out of the hole, if to use not have a better term, I guess, I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
so in the match in which Lana is finally supposed to be getting some sort of revenge after going through a table over the last 4 or 5 months, like what, 10, 11, 12 times, Nia still kind of comes out on, I don't know if on top is a word, but as the more talked about one, even though she lost the match. So who knows what it will take to kind of get Lana back over or whatever, but you know,
Rob,
it's a tough hole to be in.
Rob, we're giving you so much comedy here that you can use for your upcoming set. Is in a
Yeah, Rob tells us before the show that he's going to be he's in a comedy class and he needs some material. I mean, hey, I'm giving you free comedy material right here. Feel free to use it, but if you get famous now, we got to talk about it.
All right. So Nia Jax, the talk of the town the last couple of days. I believe even a bidet company tweeted at her. If you don't know what bidets
With a
are,
sponsorship?
potential. There you go. You never know.
There you go.
Yeah, but go check that out. Her social media.
Hey, they might be worth a whole lot of money.
Yeah, so go check out her social media. She's got a number of great puns there, a number of superstars as well. I know Xavier Woods did a little video as well, which is great. There was actually one with, and we're spending way too much time on this, but it's fine. With Bully Ray. I don't know if you saw it, where he had an alternate version for the guys, and then there was another one in TNA that happened.
Yeah, right. I had just kind of heard about it. Not
I retweeted it. I'll share it
yeah.
after the show.
I think I did see it. So those are now the three moments, I guess.
The trilogy, as they call it,
Mm-hmm.
of parts that probably should not be messed with there. But anyways,
Yeah.
getting a little more serious, there was a release over the last week, kind of out of nowhere. We did see the release of Steve Cutler, formerly of the Forgotten Sons, briefly of the Knights of the Lone Wolf with Baron Corbin. They were not on TV over the last month. They were on TV like 2 or 3 times with Corbin. And then it was reported that Steve Cutler and his girlfriend, Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion, Deonna Purrazzo, actually COVID. I believe there was a New Year's Eve party that they attended or hosted, and a number of people got sick, and so obviously they missed TV. But the rumor going around was that that was the potential last straw for Cutler, who unfortunately really wasn't doing a whole lot prior to the Knights of the Lone Wolf gimmick. Obviously, the Forgotten Sons kind of were taken off TV because of Mr. Jackson Riker over there on Raw with his pretty
Political comments.
his comments that got all of them basically written on TV for several months.
So was Cutler and this other guy, they were part of that same group, or just Cutler? Who were with Corbin? Because I know what's his name is with Elias, right?
Yes, Wesley Blake was also a part of.
Wesley Blake, that's right.
Yes, but Wesley Blake, I've not heard anything from him. He hasn't been on TV, so I'm not sure. I mean,
okay,
what goes on with him? But yeah, as of now, Steve Cutler was released. He tweeted out. I know I don't remember the exact language, but he did tweet out that it was unexpected, but that he looks forward to the post 90 days, where he will be essentially free to work with any company. Would not be surprised if we see him over on Impact with his girlfriend, obviously, as well. And Impact's been, picking up a number of stars over the last several months. So would not be surprised if we get a new one there. So,
real quick, what's your favorite Steve Cutler match?
They were part of a tag team match in NXT, a ladder match. It was like a fatal 4-way ladder match for the NXT tag team titles where the Street Profits won those titles.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay. Better than anything I would have came up with. All right.
Lars Sullivan, of course, we mentioned him.
Yeah.
When, we couldn't think of a match.
We probably had 2 more matches than Steve Cutler did.
We didn't think of a match that, was memorable, but he was involved in that inaugural NXT North American title ladder match that, the best wrestler in the world won, Adam Cole, baby. So,
Anyway.
your eyes, James. It's true. All right. Congratulations go out to what's his name? To Sarah Logan.
Yes.
And
I had it here. Where did it go? I had it on my notes. Sarah Logan and Eric.
Eric from the Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
Made the first child. It was announced shortly after she was released. Sarah Logan was released with everyone.
That's right.
It was released over the summer last year. And there was even talk about her coming back because I know a number of wrestlers kind of liked her, and I think she was even like backstage. This was like during the Performance Center era, but
okay,
not long after that, she announced her pregnancy, so she ultimately did not return. And it's nice to see that they've welcomed a child, and Eric has been off TV as well. His partner Ivar has been on the injured list for a few months. At least we'll get to spend some time at home for a bit, and hopefully we'll see the Viking Raiders back very soon. They're a phenomenal tag team. So congratulations go out to them.
And how much time we got left there, Mr. Robert?
340.
Huh?
340.
3 what?
3 minutes, 40 seconds.
And for your sports update for today. No. So we had the Super Bowl earlier this month, and Batista and John Cena both had commercials. So good for them. I believe I tweeted that out, and Ethan, being a mark, said there was like 3 or 4 commercials last year with wrestlers in it. So there's that. But no.
yeah.
So good for those guys. I was kind of surprised we didn't see The Rock in there at all. I thought maybe there's a chance we would see Stone Cold in one of those commercials. I know he has a new show, but that's on the USA Network and yada yada. But yeah, thought we would have gotten The Rock in a commercial somewhere, unless maybe he was and I missed it. So yeah, and speaking of the Super Bowl, it was in Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan's favorite quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, featuring former 24/7 champion Rob Gronkowski was also on that team. Him and Brady, of course, best buds, had 2 touchdowns together in that game. But they, they won it, and WWE is going to be next up there in Tampa Bay, correct?
That's right. Before we move on to the WrestleMania commercial and all that,
yeah,
has more rings than any franchise in the NFL. It has 7 rings.
Wow, did not know that. And that's a fun fact. That's a good fun fact because obviously he had 6 with the Patriots, moved to a new team this year in his first year, does get that 7th ring with the Buccaneers. Only the 2nd ring for Tampa Bay. So good for them and good for Brady. A lot of comparisons with him and Jordan, Michael Jordan, that is, from the NBA. We'll save that conversation for another show, a different day. But yeah, so shout out to Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucks, and of course Triple H. Quick as always, whenever there's a championship game, we'll be sending out a championship belt to Tom Brady. I'm sure he knows how to get in touch with Gronk and get that belt to them. So some more hardware and another championship there for Mr. Gronk. Go ahead.
He sent the title. They already got it the next day.
Did they? Well, I mean, they're already there in Florida, so I'm sure it was probably. I was gonna say it was probably already shipped to them, but you never know that. And I believe Chris Jericho was there at the Super Bowl as well, as I'm sure that several AEW people might have been. That's not the Jaguars, obviously, who Tony Khan owns. What were you gonna say there, Ethan? Sorry.
I believe it was the one. I don't know much about football, but it may have been one of the receivers that was carrying the title, or the one that had the meme where he was getting payback from the other.
Antonio Winfield when he did this.
Yes, I think it might have been him.
Yeah, I think that was Winfield Jr. Yeah, so he probably had the belt. He seems to be very outgoing. He wasn't shy about doing some taunting.
Did you see Brady celebrating or being helped off the boat? Or
I did see the boat pass to Gronk. Actually, Gronk almost fumbled that. So we're gonna hit a commercial break here. I know Ethan is obviously very excited about his new Tampa Bay Bucks. I don't know, but at least for Tom Brady. When we come back, we do have some news on another potential celebrity who may be on his way to WWE. So stay tuned. Go ahead. You want to finish? I don't know how we finish this.
We'll be right back.
Bye.
We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. And we're back with episode 129 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. Of course, I'm your host, Ethan. Here inside the Thunderdome for Monday Night Raw. Of course, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, who is at an undisclosed location with Charmander there. And of course, we NWO Rob, our producer here, turning heel on us for some reason. I don't know. This is like the worst booking ever, as far as I'm concerned. He just went full Cena on us. That's right. I said it.
Yeah.
Just randomly just became NWO out of nowhere. Speaking of NWO Cena, the brand new NWO John Cena action figure is up for pre-order. So if you like the Firefly Funhouse and like the NWO Cena, I guess he's available now. So check that out.
Very nice.
James, you were talking about a celebrity. Not talking about
Yes, I was. I wasn't talking. I wasn't talking about Bad Bunny, but we actually do need to talk about Bad Bunny. So we can start there first. You see a lot of celebrities come in, especially for some of these bigger pay-per-views like WrestleMania or the Royal Rumble, do their one moment, do their one spot and be done. And I thought that was going to be it for Bad Bunny. He did have a performance, did show up after that musical performance and did have a high spot there in the Royal Rumble. Wasn't officially in the match, but did get involved. You know, and you would think that's it, right? Apparently not. Comes out the next night on Raw, does another segment. I believe we might have talked about that last week. Maybe not. Yeah, we did. I think. But he was with Damien. I guess him a storyline best buds with Damien Priest or something. And a possible match could be in the works. I believe it's kind of early, but reports are starting to swirl holes earlier. Anyways, that we might see Bad Bunny in a match at WrestleMania, teaming up with maybe possibly Damian Priest to take on the tag team of Miz and Morrison. So we'll see where that goes. Ethan, did you have a comment on that? Or
Yeah, so there had been reports that Bad Bunny, who I had no idea this was real, but apparently he was last year's most Spotify, like their top artist in Spotify, and had the biggest album on Spotify. But he is a big name, and yes, there were reports going around that he was actually seen at the performance center training, actually getting in the ring and stuff. I know he had mentioned that he always wanted to be like a WWE superstar or wrestle at least, and he made his appearance last week, again supporting Damian Priest in a match against Angel Garza. And Priest also kind of making a big splash on the main roster. He made his debut technically at the Royal Rumble, eliminating a number of superstars, as we mentioned on the last episode. But this is great for Damian Priest. They both are have a Puerto Rican background, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. So there's a relationship there. They've been seen kind of backstage talking in Spanish, which is cool. So this is good for Damian Priest. I mean, I can't think of a bigger way other than competing for like a title to kind of make your main roster debut. Automatically already put in a storyline with someone obviously they're going to put on TV, a celebrity. They're going to focus on that. And if this WrestleMania match does happen, a tag team match potentially against the team of John Morrison and The Miz, who again have been involved in this kind of ongoing feud for the last few weeks. This is great for Damian Priest. Bad Bunny gets his, WrestleMania moment, and as well as Miz and Morrison, they kind of get a bit of a spotlight too, moving forward for the next couple of months. So this could be a great thing for all four involved, and yeah. So what else do you have, James?
Yeah. So I just did a quick Google search because Google has the answer for everything. Yeah, it looks like Damian Priest was raised or was born in Puerto Rico. He was born in New York, but it looks like he was raised, at least at some point throughout his life, in Puerto Rico. So obviously, good point by you making that connection. And it makes sense, that way if they need to communicate that way in the ring at all, makes perfect sense. Curious to know maybe we won't find this out right away or if at all, but maybe makes me wonder if maybe that's why you did have a Damian Priest kind of come up the way he did as an early call-up rather than waiting for after WrestleMania. Because I kind of wondered like why, because even then, I talked about it with celebrities, but sometimes you'll see an NXT guy kind of in the Royal Rumble, but then they kind of go back and just do their thing. I mean, but it's not crazy. We saw the same thing, I think, with Rhea Ripley. I think she was, or maybe she was in it up there before, whatever the case was. Well, actually, she went back to NXT, and Charlotte went to NXT chasing the title. But, yeah. So, anyways, so there's that. But as I mentioned before the commercial break, another celebrity from the music industry might be on his way into WWE and in the ring soon. Bow Wow, of all people. Little Bow Wow. Is he still little? I don't know. He just randomly tweeted that he wants to have a match as a tag team with Rey Mysterio. That's cool, I guess.
He started out saying he wanted to retire from music to pursue a career. I didn't know he was still making.
I didn't know he was still making music either, Ethan. That's why I was like, I thought he retired a long time ago, to be honest. He's been on like Love and Hip Hop or something.
I think there was footage of him irresponsibly at a concert or performing a concert with no masks or anything somewhere in Florida or something. Florida's. um, but that's what I'd heard about him. That was 2 weeks ago. But yeah, I didn't really realize he was still doing much music. I did see that tweet where he mentioned he was going to slow down or retire from music and wanted to do something in WWE. And then a few wrestlers replied. I think Baron Corbin might have been one. Kind of laughed him off. I forget who exactly. Retribution. I know Retribution's T-Bar, who's great on Twitter, formerly known Dominic Dijakovic, kind of always replying to him. So I know there's been some back and forth there.
And the story did get picked up by WWE.com, I believe, and it even
it did.
It looks like XL or Double XL magazine or whatever, and looks like even the WWE YouTube account. So yeah, I mean it picked up. It picked up some, like, it made some headlines. The Breakfast Club, which is a famous radio show, more or less based out of New York, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So it works out for both parties. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. I think his father, Master P, I believe is his name, had he had something to do with wrestling. I think back in the day he might have been on Nitro or something.
Yes, he was.
I'm not entirely sure what he was doing on there or what. So I don't know, but it wouldn't be the craziest thing we've seen.
Yeah. So, celebrities. It looks like every celebrity wants to do something. I know Cardi B, we mentioned a few weeks ago, was out there. That's
right.
We got Shaq over on TNT.
And we had Snooki at WrestleMania. I forgot she did that double flip handstand thing, which was pretty impressive. So
Snooki says she would do another match now that she's in better shape. He's tweeted that out. Shaq over on AEW has got a thing with Cody. Snoop Dogg was just on AEW television. So all these celebrities over here trying to make their marks in the wrestling industry there. But none will ever be as good as former WCW champion David Arquette. What are you looking at?
Well, yeah. No, I'm just looking at I'm looking at some headlines, and like I'm trying. Yeah, like actual like Atlanta newspapers are running with the like Bow Wow to WWE thing. Like,
there you go.
Even if he was like just kind of throwing it out there, like it's probably gonna happen.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Just because there's like enough. There's just enough steam behind it right now that it might actually happen.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I guess moving on from that, let's talk a little bit about WWE Elimination Chamber. Match was announced last week on Raw for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre was going to defend against 5 former world champions: The Miz, AJ Styles, Sheamus, Randy Orton, and I'm completely Jeff Hardy.
And Jeff Hardy, yeah, all former champions.
So that's interesting. We do know Sheamus kind of turned on his former friend Drew McIntyre a couple weeks back, and McIntyre did say he wanted to face Sheamus for the title, and it has now become an Elimination Chamber match. So I don't know if we're gonna get maybe Sheamus versus McIntyre at Mania, or if they just kind of drop the solo match. Maybe they'll do it on an episode of Raw, or I don't know if Fastlane happens before Mania too. It might be another pay-per-view.
I think it does. It does happen before Mania, I believe, but I think that could be the WrestleMania match. I don't think Edge has officially said where he's gonna go, right? But you would usually know, though, right? Like whoever's in the Elimination Chamber is the one who's not in the Rumble. Isn't that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, this one's for the title, though. This is Drew McIntyre defending the title.
No, right.
Usually it's
So,
contenders match, or like whatever one isn't.
oh right.
So this time the title is actually defended in the chamber. So Edge still hasn't made his pick, although Roman Reigns seems to be a favorite. Of course, our tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns, um, has wanted Edge to acknowledge him, and Kevin Owens keeps getting in the way. We'll save that for another discussion there. But yeah,
And he was on NXT as well.
Edge was on NXT. He said he's looking forward to watching the NXT Takeover Vengeance Day main event, which is between Finn Balor and Pete Dunne. By the way, if you haven't seen our predictions, they'll be on social media. I just realized by the time we release this, it would have already happened. So we're gonna have to give our predictions on socials. But yeah, so I would love to see Edge versus a Finn Balor or Pete Dunne at WrestleMania. I don't think that's gonna happen. But Edge versus Roman at Mania is good to me as well. Honestly, Edge versus a number of today's era's wrestlers would be great to see. So
I just wonder where we're gonna go with that. Is Roman gonna drop the title?
my tribal chief doesn't lose.
I mean, Edge is supposed to win it, right?
So an interesting fact: night 2 of this year's WrestleMania will be the 10th anniversary from when Edge announced his retirement.
Wow.
So
Okay.
it would be a fairy tale kind of comeback story if he did win
Right.
the world title 10 years to the day he announced his retirement. So
So you're gonna tell me he's not gonna win it? He has to win it. Like, I mean,
I don't know.
at this.
I mean, he has to. Will he, though? Speaking of another superstar who has a choice, Bianca Belair has also not made a decision. She was seen last week on Raw, kind of giving it to Asuka, potential match there. Asuka does have to defend the championship against Lacey Evans, who defeated Charlotte Flair by disqualification to earn that Raw Women's Championship match. So, question is now: are we going to see Lacey Evans as champion, or because they've been teasing this Flair Evans storyline for a few weeks, and it's not over yet. It's not going to be over as long as Ric Flair is involved.
I think if anything, you will get maybe Asuka dropping the title, having Lacey Evans getting it. I could see Ric Flair getting involved in that match, which would kind of keep Asuka a bit safe. But then, have her going to WrestleMania as a champion and have Charlotte beat her. Why not? I mean, it's possible. I mean, you could do Charlotte and Asuka again, and that would probably be the better match. But you're gonna want Ric Flair involved somehow, right? So you're gonna want to get him on your screen. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the match we get there. But then, what do you do with Asuka? That's a whole nother thing. You never know, because because Bianca has say in a lot of it, like you mentioned earlier. So who knows?
I will say the match between Charlotte and Evans last week on Raw was a little sloppy, honestly. So hopefully, if they do have kind of their final match or big Mania match, they work that out a little better. But they were a little off last week, and I hope Asuka isn't left out of the WrestleMania card. I don't want to see her in a battle royal,
Right?
One-on-one match. As Raw Women's champion, unfortunately, she hasn't had much to show for it, and that's not her fault. They kind of just haven't booked her as well as they could have. And
right, they've had her in tag team action too.
You've had her in the tag division for quite some time, and so the Raw title has been neglected, and I believe it hasn't been defended in over 100 days. That's what I saw. So
Yeah, it's not something. I mean, it wasn't even. Yeah, like it wasn't even defended at WrestleMania. I mean, at the Royal Rumble, which you would kind of think you would have there, but
yeah, a bit disappointing. Hopefully, we'll get something there. But anyways, we do have Sasha Banks over on SmackDown with the title as well.
I think that's the match we might get.
That's most likely the match we're going to get there between Banks and Bailey, potentially. Banks and Belair. Bailey.
I think that'd be a great match.
Bailey could get involved as well. She's feuded with both superstars over the last few months, and I don't know if she's necessarily finished with Belair just yet. I love Bailey on Twitter and on social media in general. I'll see a Bianca Belair post on Instagram, and you see a Bailey comment pinned, and it's just her calling her out and stuff. The same thing, like, replies to everything.
Probably has her notifications on or something.
It's great. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing a triple threat match either if they went that route. I think Bailey, as we mentioned, I mean, she has a history with Sasha Banks. She lost the title to Sasha Banks, and she's been in this rivalry with Bianca. So wouldn't be surprised if Bailey gets involved there rather than just having her in a battle royal or something like that. So anyways, when we return, we'll talk a little more NXT, maybe AEW, right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3 Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 129 of Beyond the Ropes. We are BTR Pro Wrestling Talk. I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams. And, of course, the producer, Rob Flores, NWO Rob Flores. Sorry, I was distracted thinking about James snapping into a Slim Jim during the break. Yeah. There it is. He's not going to eat on camera. He said he didn't want to eat, but, because he's
rude, y'all.
He's professional, unlike, some people who like to eat.
I was waiting for his Macho Man impression.
Nope.
Let's promote.
You gotta follow us on Twitter for that kind of stuff.
Follow us on Twitter at RealBTR Radio, where we're gonna watch James eat over there.
If someone tweets me and tells me they want to see it, and it can't be Rob or Ethan, and you guys can't make fake accounts either, but if someone tweets and says that they want to see it, then I'll do it.
You know what tweet they might want to also hear from you? Especially because, you got that good blue check mark. Why did Subway take the honey oat bread?
Nobody eats
I did not know that.
I didn't know that either, but nobody eats that bread.
Really?
My sister
said that's like the end of the world.
At the end of the world. You get Italian herbs and cheese. And
oh, yeah, you do get that, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I get the wheat bread, and then, I mean, the oats one would probably be second. I mean, the show's already going off the rails. But
great. Anyways,
but
let's talk about social media real quick. At Real Radio, at EthanMV95, James.
At JHW Reporter.
Rob
Flores Media. Remember, Ethan, 3 names. Come on now, one name.
You only need to follow me on Twitter, all right? That's where all the shenanigans happens. Facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes, where Rob posts videos randomly. I don't know, I get notifications from time to time. YouTube, just search up Beyond the Ropes and you'll find all 128. Are they all uploaded? Not yet?
They should be.
Should be all 128 episodes there. And then we're not on Instagram because we don't have pictures to post.
Because Instagram is becoming like the mall. They just sell stuff on there. Basically.
So we got some unfortunate news over the last week. James, you want to get into that?
Yeah, so Butch Reed passed away. He was a wrestler from the 80s. He had some solo runs there as well, but for me, one thing that stood out was the tag team with him and Ron Simmons as Doom. They were wearing masks at one point. But yeah, so, he's one of the key guys during the Mid-South, wrestling era, or, It had some matches with Flair down in the South before. I think those were probably some of his more notable matches. So again, wrestled with some of the greats like Ric Flair, and also had a good run as tag team champions, or a good run winning the tag team champions. I believe that's for WCW back in the day with Ron Simmons. So unfortunate and unexpected news. I believe there was no real reason that I saw, whether it was COVID related or anything along those lines. Only 66 years old. That's pretty young considering how far back I'm you kind of think about some of these wrestlers nowadays, but only 66. I still kind of can't believe that. But I guess that makes sense. But considering we're at the 18-year anniversary to the day that we are recording this, February 10th, for Mr. Perfect's passing. It's been 18 years already. I remember when that was first kind of came about. He was only 44 at that time. So yeah, he kind of would be around that 64 mark too. So not close to the same age as what Butch Reed was at his passing. So a lot of wrestlers we keep losing. So rest in peace to Butch Reed.
Absolutely. And we're talking about like old school wrestlers here. The Undertaker, several weeks back, made some comments about the current generation. We may have talked about this for a bit. Talk about the current generation, how it's not the same. Basically, it has old days where he feels like maybe this generation's gone a little soft.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we talked. Let's see, who is it? Wrestling Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Reported this during a Forbes interview with John Cena, Rob's favorite wrestler, because he's got the NWO colors there.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that, unprofessional on his phone. Look at that during the show. Anyways,
I mean, he's a heel. I mean, those are heel tactics right there for a radio show.
Cena made these.
Never defends his title.
Never
just sits there.
To be fair, we're tag team champions, so I haven't defended my title yet.
Tag team champion since like the first episode.
Basically. So Cena's comments here. Basically, he said, I guess I viewed the WWE as a product outside of myself for a long time. I guess that's why I was so interested in the business side of it from very early on in my career, in that I've seen it evolve, but I've also called everything that's ruined entertainment. I could look at the economics of it and make an argument that between myself and the large amount of folks that carried on the roster beyond the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression Era and the Reality Era, the fans of the Attitude Era certainly look at our product as not what they're used to, but it wasn't. So I may have a bit of a disagreement with the Undertaker's word choice because I don't think it's soft. I think it's different. Cena recalled Austin coming back to the PG era and having to adapt to a different situation, saying, I remember one of the first time Steve Austin came back during the height of the PG era, and he was just befuddled because Steve goes out and runs it. And if he gets stuck, he can curse, he can throw up the middle fingers, he can ask for a beer. But we took away the three biggest clubs that he can hit with and told him to go out there and just be himself. And he came back shaking his head and said, I don't know how you do this. But if he had enough time, he's a great performer and he could get used to it. So, yeah, I mean, that's some truth there. I think it's different. It's very much different landscape from 20 years ago. With society changing as a whole, we can't be living in the Attitude Era, and guys can't be doing the stuff they were doing 20 years ago, especially with a lot of stuff. I mean, they were working with concussions. Who knows how many concussions people got back in the day. These days, if you get a concussion,
they probably get shut down for some of the stuff they were doing back then.
Absolutely.
So.
So another superstar kind of disagrees with Undertaker there with some comments. I know it was a big deal a few weeks back, but
just with the Undertaker, it's I mean, he's not only like a generation, he's like, I don't know if he's two generations now, but
At least, I mean, yeah, I would say
He kind of is, right? If he's been wrestling for
30 years.
30 years. So, I mean, even if you want to say an era is like 15 years or something, which that might even be a bit of a stretch, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what? Since we've been during my lifetime, there's been like 3 eras, right? Kinda.
So there's the golden era.
Yeah, what is that? Hogan?
The 80s, and there was like the early 90s,
Yeah.
mid 90s era. Then we got the Attitude Era, I guess. Ruthless Aggression Era. Then we kind of got into the last 15 year, 10, 12 years. Kind of everything's kind of been blended. I know there was like the PG era and then the reality era.
Yeah.
And I don't know, there might be.
We're kind of like, yeah, we're kind of like 3 or 4 different eras. I mean, and whatever, however you want to break it down. But I mean, it's kind of like Undertaker is looking at it from, 2 steps back instead of 1. It's not like it's, because that's kind of like, Cena's kind of that middleman in a way between this era and the Undertaker era. He was kind of in the middle of both, but at the same time, I mean, they both kind of been around just as long over the last 5 or 6 years. They both only been there so much for a certain number of dates and whatnot. So I don't know. Everyone's gonna have a different opinion on it, but it's just there's a lot more money on the line. There's a lot more sponsorships and responsibility, and like you said, with society today, it is what it is, and I don't think anyone's always gonna be right or wrong in a discussion like that. But it is what it is. People continue to watch. We continue to watch, and when wrestling wants to have a good show, it will have a good show. And I would say that's, a good example of that was the Royal Rumble, for example, which was a pretty solid show. And I'm sure WrestleMania, while it has in the past, don't get me wrong, WrestleMania is not always a great show. But in recent years, I don't think they've been too far off with disappointing people. I think they've always kind of been about an average grade, or if not better. So we'll see. You don't want to speak too soon. There's a lot of time to mess things up.
Absolutely, but we do have some predictions actually, some elimination chamber predictions on NXT. So by the time this airs, NXT will have already happened. Again, go over to our socials at Real BTR Radio, where you can see our predictions for NXT Takeover, Vengeance Day, and obviously the results and all that. But this Sunday, we do have the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. So far, we only have 3 matches as of this recording. So I'm sure maybe Friday on SmackDown we'll get another match announced or something. Again, go over to Real BTR Radio for additional predictions and all that. But we'll talk about the matches that we do have announced. And we're talking about a triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship. So there was actually a number 1 contenders match last week between Riddle and the returning Keith Lee, who's been away. Lee ended up winning the match. However, Riddle is still owed a U.S. title match because Lashley got himself disqualified a few weeks back. So it became a triple threat match. Bobby Lashley, the champion, will defend against Keith Lee and Riddle. Who do you guys have here?
So Keith Lee and Bobby Lashley?
Keith Lee, Riddle, and Bobby Lashley.
All 3 of them are in the match.
Triple threat, yeah. Kind of up in the air for me, honestly.
It really is. I can see him maybe giving it to Riddle. The reason why I'm kind of I was kind of shocked. I'm just now realizing that I don't think Keith Lee was in the Royal Rumble.
Was not. He's been away since Legends Night, which was the Raw of the year.
Yeah, I didn't. So after that title match, then I didn't realize that. I'll go with I want to say Keith Lee, but I think Lashley holds on here. I think they still want to kind of keep him strong, and then again, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he loses the title in this match. 1, 2, it's a triple threat, so you're not going to be taking a big hit. with your momentum if you lose it in a triple threat.
Mm-hmm.
I'll still go with Lashley to win this one. So.
Okay, Rob.
So this is for the U.S. belt.
The U.S. Championship: Riddle versus Lashley versus Keith Lee.
And this is like inter-promotional, or they're all on?
They're all on Raw.
Okay,
right?
then I think Keith needs to benefit from it.
All right, so you got Keith Lee. James had Lashley retaining. I'll go with Riddle. I'll just say
Okay.
we'll go. You know, I could go either way. I could see Lashley retaining, looking dominant, because they've been making him look strong for a while now. Keith Lee has shown he can go head to head with the big guys here. Drew McIntyre again was his last major match for the title earlier this year, and then Riddle's kind of been in the street with Lashley for the last couple of months, kind of chasing that title. So I could see him potentially getting a victory somehow. Although I don't know if they want to pin Lashley or Keith Lee right now, but I'll just go with. So, just to defer from you guys, as we mentioned. Go ahead.
I just think that I'm still gonna go with Bobby Lashley, but I think he could lose it here just because I don't know, the timing's just not right. Because I think if he loses it, they can still find a way to keep him strong, and maybe we could see him in the title picture after WrestleMania.
Potentially.
So we'll see. It might be a little early for that, but
for the WWE Raw Women's Championship, we have Asuka defending the title against Lacey Evans with Ric Flair.
Yeah, we kind of talked about this one earlier. Yeah, like I said earlier, I think I'll go with Lacey Evans just because I think Ric Flair will have some sort of shenanigans.
Rob?
Yeah. Same thing.
This is a tough one because the question is here.
How else would they have her lose it?
I don't know. I mean, look, I know the winner is probably gonna face Charlotte because Charlotte's be involved at Mania, or
yeah.
I doubt they'll do it at Fastlane. It's gonna probably be Mania. Although I'm gonna go with Asuka. Because I feel that maybe at Fastlane, Charlotte and Lacey will have their blow off, and maybe that'll be another like number one contenders match, and then Charlotte can move on and face. I'm being a little.
I could see that. I mean, I could see Lacey maybe even winning this one.
Maybe a chamber. Maybe a triple threat.
A triple threat would be fine too. I think Lacey could still win. Maybe Asuka can get a rematch and keep.
Something. I don't know.
Huh?
Well, maybe a DQ victory for Lacey or something. I don't know. Maybe Charlotte.
Could be.
But yeah, I'm just gonna stick with Asuka here.
I'll go with Lacey. Yeah.
All right, Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. We have the champion Drew McIntyre defending against the phenomenal one AJ Styles, Jeff Hardy, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and The Miz. I know we haven't had much time to really think about the winner or like who's going to start and all that, but does you guys have any predictions on who's going to start out the first two competitors?
I think you'll get like Jeff Hardy and The Miz, maybe some guys who can kind of last a while. Okay. Maybe have a Sheamus in there causing havoc. Mm-hmm. I'm sure they might try to push Drew in there early too, now that I think about it. Maybe you have Drew come in third, you have Sheamus come in fourth to counter that, and then however else it plays out. But I think you'll get The Miz and Hardy in there first, maybe.
Okay. Any predictions for a winner, James?
Again, it depends on what, you got Miz who can has Money in the Bank opportunity, but even though he's in the match, so I mean, I don't see him winning. I think either Drew is gonna keep it, Well, we're going to be building up to Sheamus and Drew. Honestly, I can see Sheamus winning this, or maybe even at the next pay-per-view, but I think Drew might lose it soon so he can have that WrestleMania moment they want him to have. But I'll go with Drew.
Rob?
I think.
So either way, I think Miz gets eliminated early on, shows up at the end, and cashes in the briefcase.
Okay. I can kind of see that.
That's a possibility. So you think Miz is going to walk out with the WWE Championship? All right. Yeah, I was thinking Sheamus as well, because Drew could, get it back at Mania and get that WrestleMania moment you mentioned. Because this would be the perfect.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it would just be the perfect opportunity to do that with a number of guys getting involved, and shenanigans will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just go with Sheamus here. I'm going with Sheamus.
Yeah, I think we're just bound to have a Sheamus Drew McIntyre WrestleMania match if that's not where Edge decides to have his, if he decides not to face Drew McIntyre or whoever the champion is going into that.
Mm-hmm.
I just think maybe we're gonna get either way. I mean, no matter who wins the Chamber, it's either gonna be Drew or Sheamus. I think Drew might win though, just to kind of add to the impressive resume already.
Cool. So when we return next week on next week's episode, we'll have some Elimination Chamber discussions. But until next time, this episode of Beyond the Ropes has been absolutely too sweet.
Undisputed Era is garbage.
Boo.